I love working with this man and getting to call this man a friend and having him call into the show. Stanford football head coach David Shaw back on the Rich Eisen Show. How are you, Coach?
I'm great. Really excited to be on the Drop the Glove show. I think my wife is more excited that I'm on the show with the star of When Harry Met Sally. That's more important to her.
You know what? I don't know. There's so many ways that I could go and talk to Billy Crystal. I want maybe like his best Andre the Giant story from The Princess Bride.
Good one.
You know, I mean, that wouldn't be a bad way to go. He also spoke at Muhammad Ali's memorial because he knew Muhammad Ali for decades. That guy's
and one of the best Muhammad Ali impersonators ever
of all time. Agreed.
Just the voice was just perfect.
Agreed. Well, Coach David, it was great having you part of the network coverage again, and us all hanging out. Did you have a sense the first night? Again, you know, you're a professional deep down. Did you have a sense because Pep Hamilton was on the staff in Houston and that Davis Mills would wind up there night two? Was there any indication on your dashboard that light was blinking?
I wasn't sure. We had conversations really through the years about Davis, and he had touched base with us this week. I thought a lot of people thought he was going to go in the second, so I heard from multiple people, hey, if he finds his way to the third, like we think this is a guy that has a chance to be an NFL starter, we're going to take him. It just happened to be the Texans were first in line. But
was Pep in any way, shape, or form informing the decision that wound up with Houston jumping on him?
Not sure. They didn't let me know about their communications in the building, but right. I did touch base with Pep earlier in the day just to get have a final communication about him. And I know they thought highly of him. Like everybody else, would be great if we played 6 more games to get a full season in.
Right.
But they like what they saw.
Okay, so let's dive into this as well, because you know how important it is to be born into the NFL properly, right? With an organization that's stable, with a head coach who has, not only security but also experience. And then there's a clearer path to succeed and that there's not any drama around. My gosh, is Davis Mills in a spot that is rife with all sorts of potential hiccups, pitfalls, roadblocks, or maybe monster opportunity. What's your conversation with him about as he heads to Houston right now?
Oh, well, we had the conversation the other night, and I feel great about Davis. Davis has a calming effect on people and on an offense. So I think as far as whatever influence he can have early on, he is a stabilizing person. Very similar to me, honestly, personality-wise. Not a lot of highs, not a lot of lows. Very workmanlike, very confident. He'll handle the situation the right way. He'll say the right things. And if he has the opportunity to compete for the job, he'll compete for it. I think he's got a chance to win it if he does. And if he does, he'll go out there and play well. So you won't have, I don't think, the stock market up and down that typically you'll have in a rookie because he is such a stable person.
But, I mean, talk about the situation he could find himself in. I mean, let's walk through what he could find himself in. He could find himself in a situation where he's starting week 1 because he's won the job, because Deshaun Watson's long gone, or he starts week 1 because he's won the job because Deshaun Watson is holding out, or he's backing up Tyrod Taylor and then eventually gets the job once it's time for this kid to be the successor to Deshaun Watson. All of them are rife with their own pressures, and I'm wondering how you think and how you would counsel him to handle all this with the time that you obviously had in the NFL as well as all the years of your wizened experience in college.
We've talked through the years about different quarterbacks, and what you said at the beginning is very, very, very true about you'd love to go into the most stable opportunity environment, but you don't always get that. So in order to go into a situation with so much uncertainty, one of the things that's most important is your personality and your internal fortitude, right? So for this situation could be just absolutely terrible for somebody who needs that structure. And this is going to be very self-serving. Davis Mills is a Stanford man. He is smart. He is tough. He is a leader. and he's going to be able to handle whatever's thrown his way. And all those possibilities, he and I talked about all those possibilities, but the bottom line, he's going to show up every single day. The guys are going to be able to trust him. They're going to know that he's going to know what to do. He's going to study. He's going to prepare. And we'll give him the opportunity. He's going to go perform. So with all the uncertainty around him, one of the things that won't be uncertain will be Davis Mills.
So you think he's made for this moment in a way that, and, obviously somebody coming out of college, doesn't usually expect a moment like this. I'm sure his dreams of getting in the NFL have been there since day one, but it's not like the cards are stacked against him, but this is a unique set of circumstances. You think he's made for the moment as best anyone can?
I'm a firm believer, and regardless of anybody's religious affiliation, often you end up being the place where you're supposed to be, right? So a lot of his life, I'm sure, through difficulty, 2 knee surgeries, bouncing back, quarterback competitions, all kinds of things going crazy, COVID situation, we're going to play, we're not going to play, we are going to play, but it's going to be a shortened season. Oh, by the way, kid, first game of the year, national TV, now you have a false positive, so you can't play. He's been through so much that now he's like, hey, this is my lot in life. Throw me in a difficult situation, give me difficult circumstances, and then I'm going to go perform. So to a certain degree, I agree with what you just said, which is, man, if there's anybody that you would want to be in a situation like this, you want to have the smartest, toughest, most grounded individual to be able to handle this situation, and that's who Davis Mills is.
Stanford University head football coach, 4-time Pac-12 Coach of the Year, and my colleague on First Night of the NFL Draft, David Shaw, here on the Rich Eisen Show. Now that we're tonight 1 week removed from the first round of the draft, who's in the best situation out of any of the first-round quarterbacks drafted? Based on, I guess, continuing on our conversation about spot, stability, scheme, everything that was that a first-round pick wants to be born into in the NFL. Which one do you like the most?
That's such a hard one for me because there's 2 guys, and to me it's the first 2 quarterbacks. Trevor Lawrence is walking into a situation where the team is not good, or they weren't good last year by their record. But when you watch the film, they really weren't that bad, right? So now you've got a bad record, but a decent team, and now you take the best player in the draft, one of the best quarterbacks to come out in a long time, a really good running back, a good old Stanford tackle. You've got 2 really, really smart offensive coordinator type minds that work together. They're going to be sound. They're going to be smart. You've got Urban Meyer, who, in my opinion, is not just a college coach. Love him or hate him, Urban Meyer is an organizational thinker. So he's a systematic human being. I've gotten to know Urban over the last 10 years. Very systematic, very well thought out. So they're putting together something there that is going to be dependable and consistent. And now you just win 5 of those close games that they lost last year, and then boom, now you're on the borderline of being a playoff team. Your wonderful Jets there. I thought Joe Douglas did an unbelievable job off season and leading into the draft. Same thing. You got the quarterback, you got the best interior lineman in the draft, and you've got a dynamic receiver, and you've got a really good running back. You got 4 of the best players of their position in the draft to come and influence. And once again, having a low bar from the year before, an opportunity not just to win games, but to rejuvenate a fan base and an organization to say, man, now we have a chance to compete. I thought those 2 quarterbacks are in great positions.
Yeah, I know, and they got that left tackle last year in Becton, and put Vera Tucker now next to him, and you're building something you can run left and also protect the kid. But I'll be honest here, I'm surprised you didn't include Trey Lance in that. I know I asked for 1, but you went 2, and Lance being in a situation where there's Kyle Shanahan, a team that traded all the way up for him. He may not get the ability to start week 1 in the same way that you mentioned Lawrence and Zach Wilson, but I'll give you the floor on that subject matter.
I think he's in a great position. I just don't know how much he's going to play. That's the only reason why I chose those other 2 guys. Those guys are going to be on the field playing every single snap.
Right.
I would love to see Trey come in and play a role in each game because I think he's got that kind of ability. And you've got a quarterback in Jimmy G, two things we know for sure. Number one, when he's healthy, they win. Number two, when he's hurt, they don't. So if we can take 5 to 7 hits a game off of our starting quarterback that led us to the Super Bowl a couple of years ago, hey, that's great. You've got one of the best offensive minds in all of football in Kyle Shanahan to now play this game a little bit to where Jimmy G, hey, you're our guy. We're going to win games because of you. But guess what? We're going to get some mileage out of this young guy that doesn't just take you off the field, but really allows you to stay healthy and be there for us, hopefully for 16, 17-plus games now.
Before I let you go, Coach Shaw, one of the many reasons why I just love talking to you and that I'm so lucky to be sitting to your right and you to my left on draft night is you're at the center of so much from your time in the NFL, from your time in college. You know all football, you know the kids, you know bright minds, you also know the league, you know the politics, you know the ins, you know the outs. So with all that as my setup, I do want to ask you what you think of this whole Aaron Rodgers-Packers situation. Just where you're sitting, from where you're sitting, from whatever you might be hearing, not to turn you into a news and information person, but you hear so much, and you also know the league and the way things go, and also smart players who know when they're being managed by management. How do you see this playing out, Coach David Shaw?
I am definitely not an insider at all.
Right, I know that.
But it's a shame, first of all, when this came out, obviously, just for the guys getting drafted that, this is just news that I think deterred a lot of us in our conversations about should be the top day of a lot of these guys' lives. But you've got one of the top 3 quarterbacks in the league. No, he can't be rated anywhere past number 3. You're wasting your time. It's a shame that it's gone this bad, that it looks like it might be unresolvable because – first of all, you need a quarterback to win, but in order to win the big one, you need a great quarterback, and you've got a great one in Green Bay. And for the relationship to get where it is, for me, you have to find a way to resolve it. Is it financial? Is it contract? Whatever it is. And if it's too far gone, you still try to resolve it. We don't play games for a long time now. Got plenty of time to try to get this done. And I hate to hear, firing people. I hate to hear that stuff. It's how can we get to the point where we can get this all-time multi-Pro Bowl Hall of Fame quarterback to feel like organizationally we are wrapping our arms around him and giving what he needs for this small window that he's got, still a small window, but their window is there to go win another Lombardi. Yeah, that's what this whole thing's about.
Yeah, and just to touch upon one thing you just said there about firing people, that because we have not heard this from Rodgers. It's all been attributed to people supposedly in the know about him. That and I'm wondering if when people say also who are attributed to being in the know about him, like Bob McGinn, who's been covering the Packers for so long that he's in the Hall of Fame as a writer, that there's a 2% chance of Rodgers coming back to being the quarterback of the Packers. And I'm wondering if that 2% is the figure that's being thrown out there because they, in the Rodgers camp, feel that's the percentage shot of the Packers giving Rodgers what he supposedly wants in the firing of the general manager. Then I think this is unresolvable. I mean, because the Packers organization, I don't think they would go that far. And the problem with even having this discussion is we ascribe truth to the rumor that Rodgers is actually pushing for that, which may not be true. That's the one way that I think that this is potentially, if this is all, in fact, Emma's truth, unresolvable.
Yeah, and that would be very unfortunate. But we've seen it over the years from Jimmy and Jerry at the Dallas Cowboys, like a lot of things that for those of us on the outside, we're looking at saying, gosh, why would they break it up? Why would they do the things that we wouldn't want them to do? But we're also not in the meeting rooms. We're not on the field. We're not in the organization. And sometimes strong-willed individuals and perfect circumstances lead to things that none of us would want to see, but we have to deal with.
So I guess I'll go here with you if you don't mind. Where do you think would be a good spot for him other than Green Bay? That's the spot. I mean, in the AFC, you know the way this works. Throwing something to the other, like what scheme would actually, I mean, any scheme would work, right? wouldn't they tailor it to him if he goes somewhere else?
So I think like a football coach.
Yep.
And anybody who doesn't have a Pro Bowl quarterback wants Aaron Rodgers. There is no scheme that doesn't fit Aaron. There's no player group that doesn't fit Aaron. There's nothing that doesn't fit Aaron. This guy's an all-time great. And you pop him in on any organization, you automatically go into the playoffs. Now, can you put enough around him to win? So I put the list as anybody who doesn't have a great one right now is talking and saying, okay, let's make that phone call,
yes.
like apparently Kyle Shanahan did.
Yes.
Let's make that phone call just to check and see if we can get this guy, because we will go from the bottom to the middle, from the middle to the top, because that's how good this guy is.
David, you're the best, man. Let's catch up during the summer too. Again, I want to put you on the phone with my oldest son, who says, I want to go to Stanford. And then we say, well, have you done your homework? And he goes, well, not yet. And I'm like, okay, that's just not going to happen. So I might need you, to rally my troops at home in that respect, at the very least. But then just
as usual, just like the kickers and punters, I'm there for you.
Thank you. Thanks again, David. Everybody at NFL Network just raves about the experience of working with you. You should know that. I don't mind sharing that publicly. You're the best. Thank you.
Take care, Rich.
Right back at you. That's David Shaw, head football coach of Stanford. Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.